Hey everybody, this is Mrs. MacPhail. Today your learning objective is to identify quadrangles as well as parallel and perpendicular lines in them, and also to be able to use line segments to draw quadrilaterals. You're going to hear me say quadrilaterals and quadrangles, and I use the words to mean the same thing because they do mean the same thing, but we just have two different terms for it. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. So what even is a quadrangle? So we have some vocabulary, and once again, you can find these on the Unit 6 math page, the link to it under vocabulary. And today we're going to be talking about quadrangles or quadrilaterals, which are polygons that have 4 angles and 4 sides. They come in many different shapes, and we'll talk more about them a little bit later. A parallelogram is a type of quadrangle. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides. A rectangle is a quadrangle. This rectangle is actually a parallelogram. It has 4 right angles, and the sides don't all have to be the same length, but there's 2 pairs of equal sides. A square is a quadrangle. That's a parallelogram with 4 right angles and all sides that are the same length. A rhombus, I like to think of this as a squished square. It's a quadrangle that is a parallelogram and it has all sides the same length. So I like to think of it as the squished square. It would be a square if it didn't have the funky angles. A kite. That's a quadrangle with 2 pairs of equal sides, and the equal sides are right next to each other. So this would be equal sides right here, and here's another pair of equal sides. Trapezoid. A quadrangle that has only 1 pair of parallel sides. Adjacent sides, meaning sides that meet at a vertex. A vertex would be a point that 2 sides meet at. So if you didn't know this, there are quadrangles all around you. If you were to look around wherever you are right now, you could probably see some quadrangles. We have some windows here that are quadrangles. Your computer screen is a quadrangle. And here's some more windows that are quadrangles. And even the tiles on this roof of this house, if you look really close, are quadrangles as well. So here's something cool about the word quadrangle. If you break the word up into a prefix, which is the start of the word, that would be the prefix, and the suffix, the end of the word. Let's take a look at the prefix for a moment. Quad actually means 4, and I have 4 quarters here because the word quarter, if you have 4 quarters, it makes up $1. So I like to help me, I usually use quarters to help me remember the word quadrangle. And so quadrangle would mean 4 angles. Pretty cool, huh? Now, like I said earlier, you also heard me say the word quadrilateral. And I told you that they mean the same thing, but they're 2 different words. It's kind of one of the goofy things in the English language. So once again, if we were to look at the prefix and suffix of our word, quad means 4. But this time we're going to talk about lateral. And lateral actually means side. So if you think 4 side, you would have quadrilateral, meaning 4 sides. Interesting that there's also 4 angles. I like where this is going. So quadrangles have some very special properties. Number 1, they are 2-dimensional, meaning that they have height and width, but they are not thick. All quadrangles or quadrilaterals have 4 sides, as we just talked about. They also each have 4 vertices, those little points in the corner, or where 2 sides meet. They have 4 angles. And they are polygons. Poly meaning many, angles. So how do you name a quadrangle? It's kind of like when you name a triangle. You pick a vertex to start at, and then you go in either direction. The trick with this is you have to go in order. You can't bounce around, so you cannot do something like B, D, A, C. You have to go in order. So I could do B, C, D, A. I could also do B, A, D, C. So there's actually lots of different options with this. Here are some examples down below. You could have quadrangle ADCB, ABCD, or quadrangle CBD. Okay, so here's the cool thing. I kind of want to be like a quadrangle because sometimes they have really special names. They are so incredibly lucky. I'm just Mrs. MacPhail, but sometimes a quadrangle can have more than one name. As we talked about in our vocabulary, some quadrangles can be parallelograms, and that's a quadrangle with two pairs of parallel sides.